starts and never ends. Tune in, lean and feel the groove. Every moment, a vibe you can't lose. It's for the culture, by the culture. Braylon got the soul to show you. Breaking it down, lifting it higher. Feel the rhythm, spark the fire.
Well, hello. You welcome into another edition. Excuse me, a Brainley's virtual tour live. Glad to have all you here in the building with me. Oh, my Lord Jesus. So much to talk about, and once again, Ticket TV does not have the brain capacity to understand that other people have a difference of opinion. And his attitude one day is going to get him his opponent, and he may not make it back physically or in any other capacity. Not wishing that for him, but I basically dropped in his chat to say, so you were saying we shouldn't use the boys, but then you said, I quote, you were upset with Officer Tatum holding back video about other people. So all those witnesses could be suspects. And somebody was sensible enough to say, yeah, I can at least agree on that. So even one person agreed to your chat. And then he said, all body, no brain. It's like, bruh, that's all you got. But like I said, his attitude is going to run people away from the case. I get that he wants to care about Nolan Wells, but if I was Nolan Wells' parents, I would just reach out to Ticket and say, shut the fuck up talking. Because you're disrespecting people in the chat. They're asking questions for our son, and you're not a good representative. I would absolutely send him and cease and desist. And if he don't, his channel can take it away. Make it that hard for him to have a life. Moving on from that piece of shit bastard. That should be done. Here we go. Y'all, we're gonna talk about David Clough. I saw this story last weekend, or this destination rather last weekend. And like I said, I was waiting on a source, right? And this source said to me that they did not want to give a statement, but they appreciated the thoughtfulness, right? They appreciate the thoughtfulness. And I wanted to make sure that I did right by this person. I'm not going to say who it is, but like I said, I know people. I do. As much media game as I give on YouTube, you have to know I have some connections, right? So with that being said, let's make it do what it do, because higher is waiting, lower is available. But either way, we gotta go on tour. Yes, indeed, we do. Hang on. Oh, good damn allergies. Can Benadryl make an allergy drink for real? Sincerely, I'm surprised that that's not out. I probably should look that up on Google. Somebody that's probably made a drink for allergies. But anyway, like I said, higher is waiting, low is available. But either way, we gotta go on tour. Yes, indeed, we do. Let me take down this iconic intro here. You see that virtual tour background? Yes, you do. You hear that virtual tour music? Yes, you do. And then there is, hey everybody, welcome back in. Glad to have all of you here. So let's get to it. Like I said, I'm going off of the facts that I have found, okay? Y'all know I'm very, very thorough in what I do, all right? Like I said, I got to 1 million views off of covering anything and everything, not just posting random things. I show my sources. Not all of them, right? Because at the beginning, middle, end of the day, depending on the severity of the story, people have the right to be protected. For example, if I was talking about a case where a child got arrested, they got raped, this, and the third, that child should not be outed because that person is still crazy enough to go find out where that child is. There are circumstances where sources should not be said. All right, let's get to it. Here we go. From the Associated Press, film financier Jason Clough. Oh, hang on. Can I change it? Damn it, I'll change it later. My bad. I thought it was really David Clough. My bad, y'all. But anyway, film financier Jason Clough. Listen, I own up to my mistakes, okay, child? Film financier Jason Clough indicted in alleged $100 million Ponzi scheme tied to movie funding. Okay, so this is, so this right here is Jason Clough. Okay, here we go. By Rebecca Boone, film producer Jason Clough, who financed Joker, Ghostbusters Afterlife, and dozens of other movies, has been indicted by a federal grand jury on wire fraud charges in connection with what prosecutors say was a $100 million Ponzi scheme. Where he made his first court appearance, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Illinois said. The indictment alleges Clough solicited money from investors, telling them the funds would be used for a film or a video game platform. Instead, the indictment alleges he used the money for other projects like Canadian real estate development and to pay off early investors. So basically, robbed Peter to pay Paul. Court records do not reveal if Clough has obtained an attorney in the criminal case. Several attorneys representing Clough in lawsuits in Florida and California did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The indictment says Clough operated a Canadian-based company called Creative Wealth Media Finance Corporation, and that starting in 2019, he sent several clients to invest in film and entertainment projects. The indictment says he got more than $100 million from one investment advisor in Illinois, and the advisor's clients and others, and that he lied to investors, about the value of their investments. He is charged with 7 counts of wire fraud, each punishable by up to 20 years in prison. Right? So if I do 20 times 7, that's 140 years in prison. Clough is also being asked to forfeit more than $12 million. The FBI asked that anyone who believes they might have been a victim contact the agency Chicago office by filling out an online form. It is not the first time film financier has faced allegations of financial misdeeds. He's been named in several lawsuits from investors in recent years, including a class action lawsuit alleging film funding fraud in Chicago, a Florida lawsuit from an investor who says Clough's company breached contracts for several entertainment loans, and a lawsuit from investors in New York that was later dismissed. Clough has fought the claims in Chicago and Florida, and those cases are ongoing. Last year, the Ontario Securities Commission started an enforcement proceeding against Clough and his company, bringing allegations that are similar to the Illinois indictment. The commission alleges Clough and his company raised more than $500 million from investors for various film and television projects, and then diverted $70 million of the funds to other uses, like repaying earlier investors. That case is ongoing. Rebecca Boone reported from Boise, Idaho. So, with that said, I do have the lawsuit. It is 90 pages. I'm not going to read all 90 pages. But what we are going to do is we are going to showcase, right, that at the beginning, middle, end of the day, that everything is not what it seems, right? Everything is not what it seems. everything, right, is not what it seems. Okay. So let's get to it. Here we go, y'all. So this is the class action lawsuit. I put it in the description box below. The only thing I ask is, if you're going to talk about this, just say where you got from Raylan Lee and Brainley's virtual tour. That's all I ask. And I'm doing this story because if you y'all can't even see it. I hate streaming up sometimes. Sometimes. Let me do this here. Okay. I do have the lawsuit. I don't know why I wasn't showing that screen. All right, here we go. Like I said, I put the lawsuit in the description box below. All I ask is that you got from Raylan Lee and Brayley's virtual tour. That's all I ask. And the reason why I'm doing this is because if you understand the moves that are happening around you, you'll understand what you're seeing in front of you. And like I said, we just got done talking about former members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association suing Penske Media Group for $150 million. The thing about this job, right, especially with what I do, right, I don't think everybody does what I do, nor does anybody have to do what I do. But in particular, when you are covering the media industry, you have to stick to the facts as they are, right? Number two, also by sticking to the facts as they are, you need to make sure that the information is public. This is public. Okay, this is absolutely public information. Number three, you cannot go around being upset that people are talking about you. When everybody's talking about you, right? So just want to say that. So my God, today. And don't worry, y'all got the Roland Martin stuff. We'll talk about that another time. Here we go. So class action complaint. Plaintiff Diane Fowler, individually on behalf of class members, described below by and through her undersigned attorneys, Loftus and Eitenberg Ltd, and for her complaint against defendants, Schmidt Advisory Service Incorporated, DBA Callis Wealth Management, Sanford Schmidt, Jordan Schmidt, and Jason Clough, states as follows. Introduction. Jason Clough is a movie producer and principal of two bankrupted entities. Clough purported to raise money for specific movie projects, but instead commingled all the invested funds and moved the money from entity to entity without any regard for what was agreed to with investors. At some point in or about 2021, the scheme turned Ponzi. In 2023, it went bankrupt. My Lord. Hollywood loves sequels, and so do Jason Clough, and so does Jason Clough. And Aaron Gilbert, in the late 2010s, Clough's business partner Gilbert benefited from another film Ponzi scheme called Crystal Wealth that victimized thousands of Canadian investors. The Crystal Wealth scheme ended with a soft landing for Gilbert and a huge settlement from Crystal Wealth's auditor for not realizing the Ponzi scheme sooner. Right about when Crystal Wealth was cratering, the Creative Wealth Media Fund, CWMF, came in and took up the mantle with Gilbert and engaged in the same practices with investors, this time in America. Since approximately 2021, Clough does not pay investors on profitable projects, makes lulling payments on unprofitable projects to select investors, and repeatedly misrepresents facts in order to induce investment and keep investors at bay or maintain his lavish lifestyle. So, Ethan Schmidt Jordan Schmidt, Stanford Schmidt, and Schmidt Advisory and Services DBA Incorporate DBA Catalyst Wealth Management SAS or SAS or SAS. SAS served as brokers for Clough in America. Schmidt held themselves out as a fiduciary for advisors and sold dozens of individuals on the lies told by Clough by raising over $30 million in Cook County. Okay, so plaintiff Diane Fowler has been a citizen of the state of Oklahoma and domiciled in California. Defendant Stanford Schmidt is a citizen of Illinois and domiciled in Cook County, Illinois. Defendant Jordan Schmidt is also a citizen of Illinois and domiciled in Cook County, Illinois. Defendant Ethan Schmidt is a citizen of Illinois and domiciled in Cook County, Illinois. Now, of course, defendant Schmidt Advisory Services Incorporated DBA Catalyst Wealth Management is an Illinois company whose sole member is Stanford Schmidt. Defendant Jason Clough is a citizen of Canada and domiciled in Florida. Respondent Discovery C2 Motion Picture Group LLC. C2 is a Delaware limited liability company operated by Clough and David Kaplan. So I'm going to skip over the venue here because we are here for the facts here. Okay, you know the venue. Basically, okay, listen, the venue, right, is going to be in Cook County, Illinois, right? That's the jurisdiction. And the venue of this county is proper pursuant to 735 ILCS 52101, right? CWMF has raised over $34 million in Illinois of its $80 million total capital raise, right? So just want to get that there. All right, here we go. A, Clough's fraudulent scheme. Clough is an individual who resides in Florida. Clough is the owner and control person of Creative Wealth Media Finance Corp, or Creative Wealth, or CWMF, and several related entities. Creative Wealth is a pass-through entity with no assets. On its website, Creative Wealth describes itself as a prolific film and television financing company that has executive produced over 50 movies while raising and deploying in excess of 650. I was about to say in excess over, but in excess of $650 million for a portfolio of critical hits, commercial blockbusters, and cult favorites. Creative Wealth is the primary financier for Braun Studios. Now, I'm going to bring up the article. Okay, I'm gonna bring up a article rather, because I think that this is very, very, very important. Give me a moment, y'all. Okay, so I want y'all see this article, right? Now, this is just to give you context, conjecture, and connection, okay? From Variety.com. Braun Studios, financier behind Joker, The Idol, and 65 files for bankruptcy, okay? So Braun Studios was a huge, prolific studio, did a lot of great work, and they should still be around today, especially with the climate that we have with base is shrinking because of mergers and acquisitions. The more studios we have, the more media companies we have, the more cable television networks we have, the more radio stations we have, and the more digital platforms we have, the more everybody can have a shot to rise to the higher that's waiting for them. So let's get to it. Braun Studios, the Canadian finance and production company that emerged as a media force and has backed awards favorites like Joker, Judas and the Black Messiah, and Licorice Pizza, and commercial plays like Ghostbusters Afterlife with Mule 65, has filed for bankruptcy. Co-founder and CEO Aaron L. Gilbert disclosed the news in a statement on Wednesday, pending a letter to the banners. I'm sorry, my bad. Banker, banner, similar words. My bad. To the banner's friends, partners, team members, and backers. Now, I want to go back to the lawsuit for a second, because let's go back, right? Because Aaron Gilbert, okay, in the late 2010s, Klopp's business partner Gilbert benefited from another Ponzi scheme called Crystal Wealth that victimized thousands of Canadian investors. Co-founder and CEO Aaron L. Gilbert. Okay, I'm just connecting the dots for you. And this is in no way saying that Braun Studios is a part of Jason Klopp's lawsuit. I want to make that clear, and motherfucking ass clear. Okay? Like I said, I am a content creator with a journalist soul. And I believe in being accountable, being responsible, and having integrity with what you do. Okay? Because as we know, whenever there is a case, sometimes content creators' content can be used, right? So, just want to make sure that, we're good in the neighborhood, right? So, let's keep reading here. Let's keep reading. Having explored many options for many months, Braun had no choice but to take this step in light of its financial circumstances. The last few years have been incredibly difficult for Braun, and things have only gotten more complicated over these past months, Gilbert shared, citing the COVID pandemic and both the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes as insurmountable headwinds for the company's continued operations. The executive also stated that the company would not be doing press. The letter states that Braun has filed for creditor protection with the Supreme Court of British Columbia, Canada, and Chapter 15 in the United States. The Chapter 15 filing is for cases across more than one country. In recent months, Braun's co-financing deals with Metro Goldwyn Mayer and Warner Brothers has sunset. Thank you to our many friends who have been there to support us. Thank you to the Braun team and to our incredible creative production business partners. Thank you to the many production finance partners and corporate backers for their support these many years. Thank you to our various representatives and the many service providers for all the support and patience through a very tough few years at Braun. Gilbert's statement concludes. Your continued support and patience will remain critical during this restructuring process. We will continue to keep you informed as we move through this process. So that article was just saying that Braun Studios is no more. Right now, this article came out July 19th, 2023. Okay, I'm just giving you context, conjecture, and connection because, like I said, if you're reading this lawsuit and you see anything that doesn't look right to you, then you go and you find out the information, right? So when it came up to Braun Studios, you guys need to know who Braun Studios was, right? So yes, Creative Wealth is the primary financier, was the primary financier for Braun Studios, defined below, since Crystal Wealth was shut down by regulators, right? Clough is the founder of Creative Wealth and serves as its managing director. He is also the co-founder of Braun Creative. As described below, Clough owns 50% of Braun Studios at all times relevant. Braun Studios Incorporated is a corporation incorporated under the laws of the province of Vancouver, Canada, with its principal place of business being in Vancouver, British Columbia. Everywhere else, otherwise known as Braun Studios USA and Braun Studios Incorporated, are referred together here in as Braun Studios. Braun Studios is controlled by Aaron Gilbert and Jason Clough. Clough was a director of Braun Studios at all times relevant. Braun and Gilbert were previously involved in another Canadian Ponzi scheme called Crystal Wealth and potentiously referred to it as CWMF. Creative Wealth follows the same name business model of Creative Wealth that was operated by Clayton Smith. Throughout the late 2010s, Smith produced movies alongside Clough, including The Childhood of a Leader. As of 2017, Crystal Wealth claimed to have $193 million under management that were, for the most part, invested with Aaron Gilbert's Media House Capital and used to fund Braun Productions. Crystal Wealth operated as a Ponzi scheme premised on funding big budget projects. After Ontario Securities Commission (OSC) investigation and insolvency proceeding, Crystal Wealth's principal Clayton Smith escaped with a fine that was never paid, and Aaron Gilbert and Braun were allowed to continue with their operations and repeat the scam with a new CWMF called Creative Wealth. Ultimately, Crystal Wealth's auditor BDO bore the brunt of the many unpaid investors and sell for tens of millions of dollars. Right when Crystal Wealth was cratering into bankruptcy and securities enforcement actions, Braun Studios was making millions with its new partner Creative Wealth on the movie Joker. Okay. C2 Motion Picture Group LLC. C2 is a Delaware limited liability company operated by Clough and Dave Kaplan. That's probably where I got confused by Jason Clough and Dave Kaplan. So I just combined Dave and Clough, right? But there's somebody probably named David Clough. And to anybody whose name is David Clough, it's not about you, okay? It's about Jason Clough. So my bad on that. C2 was formed on May 5th, 2022, just as Creative Wealth and Braun Studios were defaulting. C2 picked up where Creative Wealth left off, but apparently with new investors. Clough raised tens of millions of dollars in the United States for several pictures and series from approximately 2019 through 2023 on behalf of Braun Studios, Crystal Wealth, CWMF, and now C2. Clough raised the bulk of the American investment via two intermediaries or brokers, Schmidt and Marborina Capital, Marborina in Texas. Never heard of that city before, so my bad on that. Schmidt's compensation from Creative Wealth was not disclosed, but upon information and belief, he received a carried interest in the investments he placed with Creative Wealth, right? Clough's scheme was complicated and appears that it did not matter what project an investor supposedly invested in. Instead, Clough just paid who he felt he needed to in order to keep his scheme going. Investors was promised repayment based on the success of specific film projects. Investors were promised that investors were promised that they would be paid if the project was profitable, accepted the risk that they would not be paid if it was not profitable. Investors were led to believe that they had a direct interest in the project, and the success or failure of the investment depended on the profits of the project. Investors were assured that each project was thoroughly analyzed and successful. So this is the thing, right? Whenever you are talking about Hollywood projects, right, you have to really hang on. Sorry, I didn't know where that noise came from. I'm like, whoa, wait. Ah, Child, listen, my God, my God, my God, my God, my God, my God, today. Sorry. Okay, let me keep reading. Hey, one person, welcome and glad to have you here. We're just talking about Jason Clough. There is a lawsuit that's happening, a Ponzi scheme that is valued by $100 million. So that's where we are right now. Upon information and belief, a significant portion um, of the money invested was consumed by Clough and his salesmen, and never actually invested in film production. Clough invested moves via various entities, but the repayments made to investors had little relation to what they purportedly invested in. Clough would pay out investments in failed projects when it suited his needs to keep the investor engaged. That's what I was going to say. When it comes to Hollywood projects, right? You can never say that every project you're going to do is going to be successful. Some are going to fail, right? Now, you could have this documented of, okay, if the movie doesn't do this, then I get this, right? So it's like a penalty fee. But because that was not done, then Jason Clough could do whatever he wanted to do, right? Now, this is my opinion. I could be completely wrong. We are talking about the facts as they are from this lawsuit, right? Clough would not pay investors on successful projects when it did not suit his needs to keep that particular investor paying. At times, investors would be promised payment based on the success of projects they did not even invest in. So it makes me wonder, right, with this of, so you're going to take failed projects, right, and pay them money from the failed projects, but not pay them more money for the successful projects, because that makes no sense to me. If the project fails, then you're not able to pay them as much money as they deserve, which means that investor could leave, right? Something the Kool-Aid ain't sweet about this, right? So let's keep going. Since forming C2, Clough has promised class members that they will be repaid for their investments in Creative Wealth and CWMF from C2. Creative Wealth, CWMF, and Bronze Studios had no internal controls, audits, or any structure in place to ensure the invested funds went where they were promised to go. The lack of auditing is the only material difference between Creative Wealth and CWMF. Clough's scheme of misrepresentations and robbing profitable vendors to make Ponzi payments on others is best illustrated with a handful of specific projects class members invested in. Ghostbusters Afterlife. On or about December 18th, 2018, rather, I was about to say 2020, 20 something else. But on December 18th, 2018, Bron Creative, the joint venture between Bron Studios and Creative Wealth Media, closed a multi-picture $100 million co-financing deal with Warner Bros. That included investment in Ghostbusters Afterlife. Ghostbusters was a huge financial success. Its budget was only $75 million, and it made $204 million at the box office alone following its release on November 19th, 2021. So you want to make back your budget or a little bit over. That was a huge success, right? Despite the huge success, investors were not paid. On June 15th, 2022, Mara Borina emailed an investor. I want to give you an update on Ghostbusters. We received the first Studio Ultimate in January, and then we recently received the second one. Numbers as of March 31st, 2022. Profit is continuing to increase, and the next Studio Ultimate will come out at the end of June, rather. I have attached the first Ultimate and a screenshot of the most recent one. And a screenshot of the most recent one is attached below. We will be financing repayment based upon the next Ultimate. Full repayment is expected within the next 30 to 60 days. I appreciate your patience as this project was delayed, but I think you'll be very happy to know with the final return. If you have any questions, please let me know. So that was on June 15th, 2022. On August 26th, 2022, Mara Borina emailed the investor. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. We just received an update on the Ghostbusters repayment. I want to keep you in the loop as to timing and when to expect a wire transfer, right? Direct deposit. We are working with Ron and Comerica for the live credit that will allow us to repay principal, interest, and initial tranche of profit as quickly as possible. Ron and Sony have signed off on all documents and have sent everything. That should be having and have sent everything over to Comerica. They are establishing a separate facility for this one transaction, not to put through their general line of credit. While beneficial, no cross collateralization risk for investors is straightforward reporting. It still requires a few more steps to establish that putting the studio's Ultimates through our existing line. Ron just received a new Ultimate report that Sony will provide additional funds to be pulled for the facility. They have additionally already received approximately 90% of the value of the tax credits on the film, so future tax credit receipts will not have a material effect on the amount available through the refinancing. Comerica will provide all loan documents as well as work with Sony to get any third-party documents sorted. Sony needs to execute a NOA with Comerica, confirming the agreement to provide financial information directly to Comerica, and several other covenants that are specifically negotiated. Ron got ahead of this, and this document is substantially negotiated at this point. In addition to loan documents in the Sony agreement, there were several other documents, for example, certificates of insurance from Sony that we are working on obtaining now to ensure a quick closing. That said, a realistic time frame from this point forward is 3 to 4 weeks. We're doing everything we can to push Comerica to move faster on this. I want you to give you an estimate. So basically, from what I'm seeing, right? From what I'm seeing is my God. I think what has happened is, now you got to think about this. When you win a lawsuit, right, you have to pay your lawyers, then you have to pay, this, that, and the third. You got to pay all the fees and everything, and then you get what's left. It's the same thing here. So after the movie is successful, this, that, and the third, the studio gets their cut, the actors get their cut, the crew gets their cut. It trickles down, right? So I'm guessing that these were in different stages, right? Stage one, you guys will get paid this. Then at this stage, you'll get paid this, and at another stage, you'll get paid this, right? So yeah. So yeah. On September 15th, 2022, Marborina emailed the investor on behalf of CWMF Ghostbusters Repayments Intimate. We'll have that out in the next few business days. Schmidt made some promises to his investors in late 2022 about Ghostbusters paying soon. On September 21st, 2022, Marborina emailed another investor on behalf of CWMF we just received an update on the Ghostbusters repayment and wanted to keep you in the loop as to timing and when to expect to wire. We are working with Ron and Comerica line of credit that will allow us to repay principal, interest, and additional tranche of profit as quickly as possible. Rather, Ron and Sony have signed off for all documents and have sent everything to Comerica. They are establishing a separate facility for this one transaction and not putting it through their general line of credit. While beneficial, no cross collateralization risk for investors and straightforward reporting, it still requires a few more steps to establish than putting the studio ultimates through our existing line. America will provide all loan documents as well as work with Sony to get any third-party documents sorted. Sony needs to execute a NOA with Comerica confirming the agreement to provide financial information directly to Comerica and several other documents that are being specifically negotiated. Ron got ahead of this, and this document is substantially negotiated at this point. So this message was sent out on August 26, 2022, right? And on September 21st, 2022, it was basically the same message. Something in the buttermilk ain't clean, in the words of Phaedra Parks. Because I'm trying my very best here to be as open, honest, and sincere as I can here. The first line would have said how much money is going to be paid to you, right? I'm thinking about this like if Brainley's virtual tour, right, was on, for example, Hulu as a Hulu original, right? If they were to tell me, hey, we're going to pay you $5 million, and let's do this real quick. Let's do this live because I think when we're able to gain context, conjecture, and connection, we're able to understand things better, right? Just saying. Now in Hollywood, you usually get a salary, right? Depending on if you're a C-suite executive or if you're a, movie star, right? What have you. And so let's do it like this, right? So I just put in $5 million, right? Hourly wage, $2,403.864. Daily pay, $19,230.77. Monthly pay, $400 $16.67, right? That's annual salary. So weekly pay will be $96,153.80. Now, if I was doing Brainley's virtual tour live on Hulu, not this Hulu that's being joined into Disney Plus, not that fucking bullshit, but actually on the Hulu platform, getting a check from Hulu every week for $96,000, I'm good with that. It's just me. How can I blow $96,000? Make sure I got my food. Make sure I got my clothes together. Make sure that I don't have my license right, and I don't have a car right now. But if I had that right, I would just pay off whatever car I wanted. Make sure the gas is good. Go on vacation when I want to on the weekends, right? Cool. And if they wanted to pay me a monthly check of $416,667, I'm good with that too. But then here's where the contract comes into place, right? So first year, $5 million. Second year, you may go up to $6.3 million. Year 4, $7 million, right? So there's different things in your contract to let you know, okay, this is your year 1 salary and what it entails. This is your year 2 salary and what it entails. Some contracts will do that. Other contracts are, this is your salary. You can take it, we can negotiate, or you can leave, right? That's how most businesses operate anyway. So just wanted to add that because I'm just like, it's interesting that they did not, in any of those emails, right? They did not have a line, right? They didn't have a line about how much, these people are going to be paid, right? So yes, so let's keep going here. In addition to the loan documents and the Sony agreement, there are several other documents, for example, certificates of insurance from Sony, rather. So I'll say Disney, but from Sony, that we are working on obtaining now to ensure a quick closing. That said, realistic time frame from this point forward is 5 to 7 business days. We are doing everything we can to push Comerica to move faster on this, but I want to give you an update. On October 4th, 2022, Marborina emailed an investor on behalf of CWMF. I spoke with Aaron this morning. I don't think that's how you spell Aaron. Okay, Aaron, but okay. And we are waiting on funds from Comerica, which will then be transferred to Braun and then to Creative Wealth Management, right, or Creative Wealth Media. We are expending this any day now. I know the delay has been frustrating for everyone. I will be following up daily, or I am following up daily with Aaron Gilbert and his team. October 28th, 2022, a CWMF employee emailed an investor. We have a checklist call with Akin Bank's counsel today, but we don't have that far to go to get a closing on Ghostbusters because it's being pulled from our general life grid. We'll need the union's approval and a few other issues, need to be addressed. I'm not understanding the broken language here. That's a little suspect. Just a little bit. It's not the craziest thing, but just There's an energy of this, y'all, that I'm just not liking. But the action loan itself is quite advanced, and I don't see other issues causing any material delays. On February 16th, 2023, Clough emailed my brainer. We are expecting money right now within days. On February 19th, 2023, Clough emailed Brain 26%, and it will be in next week. Clough told another investor Braun received 33% of the profits. Class members were never paid the full return on their Ghostbusters investment. Plainly, Clough promised more returns than he could satisfy. His salesman, Schmidt and Marina, were oblivious to the inner workings of the scheme they were promoting. Another investor was repaid less than half of his principal invested in Ghostbusters, and payment came from an entity called Shaggy Dog Media that was not disclosed in the documents. So let's see what Shaggy Dog Media is all about. Okay, y'all, give me one moment. Give me one moment. Hey, I'm back, y'all. Hey. Sorry, I had to use the restroom for a minute there. So let's see what Shaggy Dog Media is all about. So Shaggy Dog Media is a film financing and production entity used by Hollywood producer Jason Clough to raise money for movie projects. Has recently been tied to a federal fraud case. Interesting. So, would it be fair to say, now I don't know this to be for sure, but would it be fair to say that Jason Clough, not only did he rob Peter to pay Paul, but he had many companies, right, that he utilized as storehouses, right? Right? Let's keep going. By the way, this was not disclosed in any investment documents. So could Shaggy Dog Media have been one of the ways that, like I said before, this was one of the main storehouses. This was one of the main companies that Jason Clough had. He'll take the money from the project, spread out to these different entities, and then for the higher successful projects, he would put it in the accounts that are reserved for the higher profiting projects. And then for the other ones, the lower, the non-profitable projects, right, or deficit projects, he would put in the accounts that, you know, were just to cover those investors, right, just to show them up, right? And then when they go to the books, it's like, oh, guys, I have money. I'm paying people. I got all these companies to make sure that we're good. But if the production was primarily through Braun Studios, then it's Braun Studios that needs to pay. You don't get to use Braun Studios to cheat people out of their money, because now you are involving a staff and crew of a whole movie studio And by fucking them over, you're fucking yourself over, because now you don't have access to keep this scheme going. That's what I'm thinking right now at this point. In July 2023, Clough said another large investor was paid on Ghostbusters. So that is that movie, right? Monkey Man. This is the second movie, right? CWMF and Braun produced the Dave Patel movie Monkey Man. It was produced at a total expense of $10,500,000 and then sold to Netflix for $34 million. Monkey Man was a success. Clough claimed that Creative Wealth actually received 25% of Monkey Man's net profits in compensation for a $6,500,000 loan. Further, Creative Wealth had registered a charge on Kid Unknown Holdings Ltd, the production company for the Monkey Man project, on or about March 30th, 2021, and that this charge was satisfied on or about August 6th, 2021. In other words, it appears as though Creative Wealth received monies in connection with the Monkey Man project over 2 years ago, but yet has failed to pay anything to investors. So, Shaggy Dog Media was for this production. Kid Unknown Holdings was a production company for this one. Listen, I may not ever be president of the United States, but damn it, I can hold my own. Oh my God, my God, my God, my God, my God, my God, my God. Let's keep going, y'all. Here we go. On January 27th, 2022, Schmidt repeated Clough's representation to investors that Monkey Man sold for $33 million for a total profit of over $20 million. On September 7th, 2022, Marborina emailed the investor. By the way, my bad on that. I thought Marborina earlier at the top of the tour was a city, but Marborina is a person. My bad. Netflix has the film and editing is complete. Ron is finalizing everything with Netflix lawyers. We expect everything to be complete in the coming weeks. Netflix will be paying Braun starting at the end of the year, but CWM is going to be paying investors in the next month or so with other funds. Despite the success of Monkey Man, class members were not paid on their investment project. Shadow Play. This is the third project. On or about March 19th, 2020. Or in the words of Barbara Walters, 2020. Shout out to Barbara Walters. Class members invested in financing episodes 101 and 108 of the series Shadow Play. Class members entered into a participation agreement that provided financiers shall participate in the collections and be repaid principal and interest share in adjusted gross revenues. Now, gross is, I believe gross is before net, right? Let me see. Is gross before net? Yeah, gross is before net. That's right. So the gross is basically the total pay or income before taxes or costs are taken out, and then net is the final amount left over after you subtract those costs. Right? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, and be repaid principal and interest and share in adjusted gross revenues derived from exploitation of the picture. On and subject to the terms provided in a Schedule A to the extent of its participation. Lender agrees to pay an otherwise account to financier on or about 15 calendar days after lender's actual receipt of amounts due and payable to lender pursuant to the financing agreements. Amounts due and payable to financier pursuant to the client term sheet in respect of the participation, as such amounts are earned and paid by the borrower to lender pursuant to the terms of financing agreements. On July 16, 2020, Clough entered into a term sheet for another loan for the same project with the same terms with Hudson LP. On December 9th, 2022, Marina emailed the investor the production risk is an issue for any of your investments. Digital animation will be sold within a couple of months. Child play repayment scheduled for February. So was this series being produced knowing that the company was going to be shut down? That is the question that I have, right? Was this going to be produced and the company was going to be shut down afterwards, right? Because I would think, right? I would think that at the beginning or end of the day, that will be disclosed that, hey, we are shutting down our company, but we are going to finish this project. Everybody's going to get paid. Sorry, y'all. I'm just looking up something. Give me a moment. I'm just looking. Okay, y'all. Sorry, y'all. I was just looking up something real quick. Okay. Let's see here. On March 4th, 2021, class member texted Marina, question, do you have any update on shadow play repayment? Answer, we'll have an update from Braun by the end of the day today. Apparently, took a month for an update. On April 16th, 2021, Marina emailed the investor, Casey, I hope that you are doing well. I wanted to get back to you regarding an update on Shadow Play. The sale to Netflix is being finalized right now, but has been delayed several weeks as a result of. Investor told Marina that he can invest more as soon as Shadow Play paid off. On February 2nd, 2022, the investor's investment in Shadow Play miraculously paid off right in time for him to invest in another CWMF film, National Anthem. The payoff on Shadow Play had nothing to do with the success of the investment and everything to do with the investor's willingness to roll over the investment into another project. So, unless there are terms, now this is just my opinion, I could be wrong in everything I'm saying, right? Because this is an open dialogue, purposely curious, purposely discovering a purpose. How can I put it? Purpose, open dialogue, all about genuine curiosity and an understanding of wanting to discover the truth, right? That's all we are doing here. Nothing more, nothing less, right? Unless there is an agreement. Unless there is an agreement, right, that the investment, right, is going to roll over, then you would have to make sure that you are going to that financier of like, hey, listen, This is it for this project. A new round will open up for investment. So they must have had a relationship before in order for the investment to roll over to another project. Klopp stated in an affidavit filed on December 16th, 2022 in SDNY. Shadow play was not successful as Creative Wealth had hoped. Shadow play did not generate sufficient gross receipts to pay Hudson. Therefore, no amount is due and Owen Hudson from Creative Wealth or anyone else. Affidavit exhibit. Repayment of those outstanding amounts was conditioned on Shadow Play's generation of sufficient receipts. Same terms for the same investment yielded a profit, 20% profit rather for one investor, while another investor received nothing on the same poorly failed project. So let's rewind a minute. Like I said, I'm not going to be the president of the United States, but I do know a thing or two. It says here, Shadow Play was not successful as Creative Wealth had hoped. Shadow Play did not generate sufficient gross receipts to pay Hudson. Therefore, no amount is due and owing Hudson from Creative Wealth or anyone else. But the same terms for investment yielded 20% profit from one investor, while another investor received nothing on the same purportedly failed project. So, like I said, Shadow Play did not generate enough sufficient gross receipts to pay Hudson, but yet there was a 20% profit from one investor, while another investor received nothing for the same project. One more time for the one more time. Shadow Play was not successful as Creative Wealth had hoped. Shadow Play did not generate sufficient gross receipts to pay Hudson, but the same terms for the same investment yielded a 20% profit from one investor, while another investor received nothing on the same poorly failed project. So you mean tell me it failed, but yet you paid somebody? You mean it failed, but you paid somebody still? It failed, but yet you're paying somebody though? Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. Let's not do this. It is mentally exhausting, right? It is mentally exhausting. It is mentally exhausting, right? That to do this for so long, knowing that I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. Doing what you've done for so long, only to know that eventually the thing that you were doing to keep it afloat was the thing that was going to kill it, and you didn't do anything to be responsible about, is fucking asinine, tacky, and disrespectful as fuck. Sincerely. Let's continue on. Gossamer class members invested in two failed projects, Fables and Gossamer. Both projects were complete failures and nothing was paid. On June 3rd, 2022, Oaks invested in Gossamer. On June 16th, 2022, Barbarina told investors that CWMF renegotiated the deal with Braun, was now getting 40% of the profits of Gossamer. Something the buttermilk ain't clean once again, because it says class members invested in two failed projects, Fables and Gossamer. But now they were getting 40% of the profits on Gossamer. Once again, I'm leaving Braun Studios out of it. It is in the lawsuit, but Braun has nothing to do with this. This is about Jason Clough, that he and his associates did a Ponzi scheme. Not Braun Studios, not the staff, not the crew, not the C-suite. Okay, all right. Just wanna make that very clear. So, how could Gossamer be a failed project, but they were getting 4% of the profits of Gossamer? How could Gossamer be a failed project, but they were now getting 40% of the profits on Gossamer? How could Gossamer be a failed project, but now they're getting 40% of the profits on Gossamer? Somebody explain that to me. Somebody explain that to me. I'm not understanding here. Sorry, y'all. Okay, sorry, y'all. Let's keep going. On January 27th, 2023, Cloth communicated to Sandy Schmidt in Illinois. I've been asked to provide further update on the initial financial exit from the various film and TV productions financed by all of you. Firstly, I cannot stress this enough. There is zero risk of non-repayment. All the shows except for Bear Grylls, that deal is being worked on now, are sold and have been sold for far in excess of production costs. I think I've said this before. Film finance is very much akin to a first lien construction finance loan. Other than the first 10 to 50%, I feel like that should be other than the first 10-15% of monies received. We are always the first party to be repaid with interest. Just like construction, the purchaser of the property is not closed until the project is delivered as substantially completed. That is exactly the same mechanic in film and TV, in film and television finance. That is exactly the same mechanic in financing films and television shows. That makes a lot more sense to me. We have multiple non-related productions contained within a fund and a few one-off productions that sit exclusively to the media fund. Delivery of all of these shows will occur anywhere from a few months from now to 18 to 24 months from now. If we waited for delivery and payment from the studio's distributors, repayment would be irregular and very choppy. I found over the years that didn't sit with clients and caused needless angst to clients. Aaron Gilbert and myself took it upon ourselves to put in place a credit facility which allows us to take deal paper and bring forward the cash value. That value is to exclusively be used to repay clients from the underlying deals. To get that point, all 26 agreements on 9 shows need to be legally reopened and Comerica inserted as a party to the transaction. Once the new document or docs are drafted, they must be sent to the legal counsel of every party connected to each show for review and comment. Once everyone has agreed to sign all of the documents, they have to go out for wet ink signatures. Once all the wet ink is back at Comerica, closing is arranged usually within 48 hours, and funds are transferred to our collection account for distribution to clients. Closing a bank facility for one show is heavy work. 9 is enormous. COVID played a role in slowing the lawyers' work in December, early January, but things are rolling now. I've told Sandy on this on numerous occasions. There were probably 100 people working to push all parties to review, comment, sign, and execute documents as soon as possible. I can't push people any harder. They will stop taking my calls, right? I'm sorry, y'all. We are all at the end here. I anticipate funds closing very shortly. As a matter of fact, I'm being told intimately. The payments being processed now will allow for full exits with all outstanding interest. Further profit participation will provide investors with returns well above 100%. Future revenues include merchandising, gaming, publishing, music, digital strategies, NFTs. You got to remember when those were a thing. You all will make money for years to come from those shows. Not their shows, but from those shows. Further comfort, and please do not share any info with anyone outside of our group. Well, I mean, the info is now shared in a class action lawsuit, so there's that. I'm going to give out, sorry, just had to be honest. I'm going to give out the purchase details for each show. For clarification, I must admit I don't have all of the waterfalls yet. Those are being prepared, so I can't quite calculate the exact quantum of profit owed to us per project. Also, please remember that we are only one of the main parties entitled to profit participation. Okay. So what I'm getting from this here, right, is basically instead of somebody commented, "Hey, Coach James, good to see you, good sir. Long time no see. Hopefully all is well with you." From what I'm getting here, it seems like that they had some productions that were related to a media fund, and they have been inconsistent with being honest about their payments, because some productions were failures, but yet some people got paid and some people did. So to regulate this, they decided to put everything to a credit facility, right? That will allow them to bring forward the cash value of each project, and then to be able to repay clients through that platform. That's what I'm getting here. So Monkey Man, $10,500,000 cost. Netflix, $33 million purchase price. Haley and the Hero Heart, $2,775,000. CW Loan, that's from Creative Wealth, right? Warner Brothers Cartoon Network, $3,650,000 only for North America. The rest of the world is being sold right now. Bubbles Hotel, $5,500,000. Creative Wealth loan, Warner Brothers Cartoon Network, rather, $8,700,000 purchase price. Fables, right? $10,500,000 cost. Netflix North America, Paramount Plus, rest of the world, $17 million purchase price. Gossamer, $10,800,000 cost. Netflix North America, Paramount Plus, rest of the world, $18,700,000 purchase price. Robin Hood in production. Now, I do want to mention that just because Paramount Plus and Netflix is in this does not mean they have anything to do with it. I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. I'm being completely honest because I think sometimes when we hear, oh my God, this company's a part of this company's a part of that, just because a company is listed doesn't mean that they're a part of it. It's just a part of the totality of the case. They want to mention anyone and everyone that is within the case, so that way the best understanding of the weight of what's happening is understood to the federal grand jury and the judge and everybody involved, right? Um, so. Sorry, y'all, I'm looking up something here. Okay, let's keep going here. Bear Grylls corporate have agreed to post a corporate guarantee of our loan. That guarantee is being financed with our Comerica line as well. Clients will receive their investment plus outstanding interest. The distribution deal is being worked on now. I should have further details shortly to share with you. As always, I don't take it lightly that you all have entrusted me with your hard-earned money. We are always very careful to select those that we identify as those with the greatest return potential that can survive in all market conditions or evergreen content. I know you will all be happy and impressed with the total return performance of these first few shows. Cloth told Schmidt Gossamer that was already sold, but didn't pay investors anything for their investment in it. Cloth's favorite lie to deploy when in a buy is that Comerica line of credit will come soon, save the day, and neither Schmidt nor Marborino confirmed, bothered to confirm rather, there was an actual line of credit or that it would be used to pay investors. So Yum Bear Grylls, so I'm guessing this is like a cartoon or something, I'm guessing. On May 4th, 2020, pursuant to a loan security agreement, CWMF agreed to loan to an entity called YBG Commercial Ltd, approximately $11 million to fund the production of Young Bear Grylls, an anime trilogy. Okay, that's what it was, all right. With distribution to be handled by Braun Studios. The Callus pitch deck showcased the YB trilogy as one of the fund's featured projects. Class members relied on Schmidt's representations that received capital out in 12 months, that each film project was carefully vetted, and the investment will be used exclusively to fund YGB films. On December 30th, 2020, literally one day before New Year's Eve, is crazy work. Only a few months after class members entered into the participation agreement, Schmidt told investors that the three Bear Grylls animated movies are well into production, with 2 out of 3 complete, and that bidding war was imminent. Once the film was sold, Schmidt claimed investors would be taken out of the investment within just 45 days. In the first quarter of 2021, Creative Wealth released a newsletter advising that the production of Fables, Gossamer. I remember Fables and Gossamer were both failures, but from Gossamer, somebody got paid 20% of the profits, but yet somebody else did not get paid, but yet they said Fables and Gossamer were not successful, okay, from a profit standpoint. Bubbles Hotel and Hailing the Hero was completed, and negotiations were ongoing for the sale of each of those projects to major streamers and or TV networks. Negotiations for the sale of Young Bear Grylls was also reportedly ongoing at this point. On June 9th, 2021, Schmidt again emailed investors advising them that production was underway and that there were ongoing sales discussions regarding distribution rights. The films will be distributed worldwide in 196 countries. Schmidt claimed North America distribution via major streaming services such as Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and HBO Max. On May 10th, 2022, Schmidt emailed investors claiming that the Young Bear Gorillas films were still out for sale, this time at the Cannes Film Festival. Schmidt advised them that he hoped the fund's exit would occur at the end of the month. Your investment is not in risk of loss of principal. Unfortunately, it's taking longer than expected. We are very, very close. On July 20th, 2022, Schmidt reported that the films were recently completed and the streaming services, including Netflix, were live for distribution. My God. Okay, get back to this here. Let's see. Months passed without update. Then on September 1st, 2022, Schmidt emailed investors, including CBL, a projected financial outlook for the Young Bear Gorillas franchise, which promised an incredible $80 million potential revenue, more than 6 times the trilogy's initial production budget. Schmidt said he was still determining an exit strategy for investors. He acknowledged that the timing of the investors' exit had been misrepresented, but that as soon as Braun sold the films, their capital would be returned. I strongly believe this would be an excellent investment. He said it's taking longer than expected. Thank you for your patience. On February 15th, 2023, Schmidt emailed investors with another update on the YGB trilogy and financial projections for Braun. We expect Young Bear Gorillas to be monetized this year, Schmidt assured, saying that he would know for the following month. According to the email, the first film was completed by the second. Was completed, and the second film was in post, and the films will be shopped around to global buyers that month. In reality, the project was never completed, and Young Bear Gorillas made no money. The project remains in limbo. I wonder what Bear Grylls has to say about that. Because, well, not just Bear Grylls, but I wonder what his team has to say about that, right? And I'm also thinking as well, right? All Netflix has to do, all HBO Max has to do, all that Apple TV has to do, and all that any studio has to do is go back to their communications with, Jason Clough, right, and his partners to see if there was anything off. And then those studios, right, can literally turn that into evidence, can literally turn that into the judge as evidence, which could further help move this case along, right? So, because usually most studio executives, they don't delete their emails just in case something like this happens, right? So, here we go. Braun bankruptcy. On July 10th, of 2023, Clough spoke to a group of investors in Illinois about the Braun bankruptcy. Sandy Schmidt acted as the master of ceremonies for the Zoom meeting and recorded the meeting. Remarkably, Clough attributed all the failures and investment losses to Braun, despite the fact that he was the owner and director of Braun. See, that's what I don't like. That's what the fuck I don't like, right? You decide to utilize this studio and squeeze it for all that's worth, and then you're going to blame the lemon that you squeezed, but yet you don't recognize that you're responsible for how you use that lemon. That's some fucked up shit. Klopp said the cause of the bankruptcy was its financial mismanagement, and that we haven't worked with Ron in a year and a half. He claimed that CWMF had nothing to do with it and the liability because we were a flow-through entity. Klopp claimed we know that there is value in other investments Ron made, and that C2 agreed to pledge its share to bank for a line of credit to repay LeBron and CW investors. Just like he did years earlier, Clough claimed America will come to the rescue and credit facility will be in place for 90 days, and we C2 will pull revenue forward to pay off those notes. Clough boldly claimed that CW Brown investor will be paid as soon as possible based on C2's investment in Mission Impossible. Sorry, y'all. We see something. There's a new on my phone. Sorry, y'all. So, okay, let me keep going here. Clough claimed that in July 2023 that it was a likelihood that he would repay the notes to Illinois within 110 days of July 10th, 2023. The Commerce line of credit was made up just like before. Mission Impossible, which, I mean, come on. come on, like Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. That's one of the biggest one of the most, one of the biggest, most profitable movie franchises of all time, right? While a huge production was not profitable, Paramount lost $40 million on the production. C2 is not listed on IMDb as producer of Mission Impossible. So, wait a minute. So, C2 was not a part of Mission Impossible, right? But they said based on the success of C2's investment in Mission Impossible, right? Okay. Good God. Now we get to the CWMF bankruptcy. On or about November 28, 2023, CWMF filed a petition for voluntary bankruptcy in Ontario, Canada. The bankruptcy was just 3 months after Clough put all the blame on Braun and Gilbert and promised that CWMF will clean things up and they will be repaid. CWMF claims to have had over $80 million in liability, of which $34 million is owed to Illinois investors. Clough has gone quietly and recently gave his defense of a related fraud case in the Southern District of Florida. Schmidt's participation in the scheme, Clough raised money in the United States via two principal firms who acted as placement agents for selling notes on investment, including Schmidt, most of whom raised the funds with friends, family, and other downstream investors for the purpose of investing in promissory notes and co-investing agreements used to fund individual projects offered by Clough for promissory notes to fund CMWF, including Series B and Series E notes, and later in Schmidt's own fund, Catalyst Wealth, that aggregate investment for Creative Media Wealth Finance, I'm thinking, CWMF. Here in after Clough offering. Schmidt is a family business that has a solid reputation that has enabled the sale of 2 dozens of investors with no knowledge of the film business and plenty of funds available for investment. Clough will now tap into Chicago area wealth without Schmidt. Clough needed Schmidt after burning bridges with Canadian pension funds in the Crystal Wealth scam. So you blame Braun, right? A Canadian company that worked in the United States. Okay. Let's see here. Clough's scheme was a house of cards and an iota due intelligence by the middleman earning paid to sell the investment would have demonstrated this investment was not safe for anyone. Schmidt relied on personal relationships and word of mouth referrals to obtain investors. Schmidt typically solicited investors in person, over the phone, via email for the Clough offering. Schmidt solicited over $30 million in investment for the Clough offering, of which approximately $30 million remains outstanding. Schmidt was Clough's salesman and broker, raising money for Clough throughout the Midwest. Smith Sorry, y'all. Smith negligently relied on only representations from Clough when recommending the investment to plaintiff rather than confirming anything with third parties or looking into Braun or CWML's finances or the principal previous Ponzi scheme. During this time, Clough made representations and provided purported contracts, emails, and other information to Schmidt, which Schmidt negligently believed to be true and accurate without investigating the obvious holes in the story that were far too good to be true. Schmidt proceeded to sell plaintiff and the class investment in the Clough offering by regurgitating lies told by Clough. Schmidt acted as gatekeeper of information for Clough. Plaintiff reasonably relied on Schmidt's due diligence on the investment representations that they were actually investing in specific projects rather than Clough's personal piggy bank. Rather than rely on any substantive investigation of its own, Schmidt relied on the fact that Clough kept paying as sufficient evidence that the apparent Ponzi scheme was legitimate. Schmidt was taken hook, line, and sinker by Clough and did not bother to do his own independent due diligence with promoting the Ponzi scheme. Schmidt kept his head down the sand for so long as the loaning payments kept coming in from Clough and then parroted Clough's absurd lie when payments did not come as promised. Now Schmidt is trying to keep investors at bay by promising a miracle in the Canadian bankruptcy, the same tool employed by the last reiteration of the Ponzi scheme, crystal wealth. My God. It's really amazing to me that people can be out here doing as much as they want to do, right? And I know what people are going to say. Ray, this has nothing to do with race. We all damn well know, right? If a black person were to do a fifth, quarter, or a half of this, right, that it would be a different outcome. For example, Diddy. We do know that Diddy utilized his own company to be able to get away with hurting you, right? And so this has the same energy, doesn't have those same allegations that Diddy has. But you see where I'm going here, right? To blame Braun Studios for the failure of all of this, even though you were a part of Braun Studios, and then because you fucked up in Canada, you're going to use American. This is no racism at all, no globalism, or being a globalist. You know what I mean? It's, I don't like Canada. I don't like that. Stop it. Follow the bouncing ball. James Clough sounds like a Colonel Tom Parker. You know who Colonel Tom Parker is? Colonel Tom Parker, right, was the manager for Elvis Presley, right? And he had his own shit, right? He had his own shit. He had gambling problems. He had out the country problems, right? So if he went to another country, he was going to be in trouble because he committed some crimes over there. And so what Colonel Tom Parker did was because Elvis wanted to go around the world. Like everybody around the world loved Elvis. So what Colonel Tom Parker did was, hey, we could do it from Hawaii and then broadcast it to the world on pay-per-view. And he's being seen around the world. But that is not the same thing as being able to be on the ground in Japan, be on the ground in Africa, be on the ground in Dubai and perform. That is not the same thing. That's not the same thing. That is not the same So, all right, I'm still looking up something real quick here. Sorry. Oh my God. All right, y'all, I'm still. Sorry, y'all, I'm still looking up something. Okay. Let's keep reading here, y'all. Sorry. Schmidt's duty to plaintiff and class. The cloth offerings were structured as a co-investment in various film projects. For all intents and purposes, Schmidt was acting as a placement agent or broker for cloth and paid to make the sales. Plaintiff reasonably relied on Sandy Schmidt's representations and due diligence into cloth because he was a investment advisor, a CPF, a certified financial planner, an international board certified financial planners, CHFC, chartered financial consultant, CLU, chartered life underwriter, and has FINRA Series 63, 65, and 22 series registration. Jordan was the primary contact with plaintiff and was previously acquainted with her son. Jordan is a registered broker and passed a FINRA 63 Series 63 examination. Ethan claims he created the Catalyst One provision of SAS. That's Ethan Schmidt there. So that is the son of the Daddy Schmidt, rather. Ethan's a registered broker and investment advisor that passes Series 66 and Series 7 examinations. Brokers such as Smith who sell private placements to retail customers for a commission, such as Smith, are required to register with the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or FINRA. FINRA regulate broker trader firms like Schmidt and the registered representatives, stockbrokers, and promulgates rules and regulations that brokerage firms and registered representatives must adhere to. Placement agent, or at least a part acting in that role, such as Smith, is required to perform reasonable due diligence on a private placement prior to offering it or sell to its customers pursuant to FINRA Rule 2111.05. FINRA Regulatory Notice 10 through 22, NASD notice members 03 through 71, NSAD notice members 50526, 17 CFR 240.151-1B1. My God, this is a lot. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, I'm still. Oh my God. In the words of Emily from The Devil Wears Prada 2, idiots like Ticket TV never cease. Idiots like Jason Clough also never cease. Let's continue on. SEC regulation, best interest regulation B1 provides Smith as a placement agent owed the following duties to plaintiff and the class: care obligation, the broker, dealer, or natural person who's an associated person of a broker or dealer in making the recommendation, exercises reasonable diligence, care, and skill to understand the potential risks, rewards, and costs associated with the recommendation, and having reasonable bias to believe that the recommendation could be in the best interest of at least some retail customers. B, having a reasonable bias to believe that the recommendation is in the best interest of a particular retail customer based on that retail customer's investment profile. And the potential risks, rewards, and costs associated with the recommendation, and does not place the financial or investment or the investment of the broker, dealer, or such natural person ahead of the interest of the retail consumer. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So let's see here. Have a reasonable bias to believe that series of recommended transactions, even if in the retail customer's best interest, when reviewed in isolation, is not excessive in the retail customer's best interest when taken together in light of the retail customer's investment profile, and does not place the financial or other interests of the broker, dealer, or such natural person making the series of recommendations ahead of the interests of the retail customer, right? In order to ensure that it has fulfilled its responsibilities, FINRA requires that a broker, dealer, and a Regulation B offering must at minimum conduct a reasonable investigation concerning the issuer and its management, the business prospects of the issuer, assets to be held or to be acquired by the issuer, claims being made, and the intended use of proceeds of the offering. Schmidt had a duty to conduct a reasonable investigation in connection with the offering, notwithstanding that a sequential offering may be for the same issuer. So also, two, a reasonable investigation of Clough and its history by Schmidt would have included, as set forth in FINRA Regulatory Notice 10.2 and Security Industry Standards, examining historical financial statements of Clough, with particular focus, if available, on financial statements that have been audited by independent certified public accountant or CPA, and order letters to management, looking for any trends related to Clough's financial statements, contacting customers and suppliers regarding their dealings with Clough, reviewing Clough's contracts, leases, and financing arrangement, inquiring about Clough's past security offerings and the degree of their success, and inquiring about the length of time that Clough had been in business and where the focus of its business was expected to change. See why I told y'all about making sure, right, that you want to be fully coherent in the fact that if something is not right, you do a full investigation. And that's the thing. they utilize the same message of like, hey, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, but they didn't give any updates on any of the money amounts that were going to be paid to them. You got different companies that are basically different storehouses to hide money, but yet they only give enough to make it look like the company is doing well, withholding full payment. So we won't pay you enough, shut you up, but we're not going to actually fulfill our obligations. That's what I'm saying here. And then right here in that same 1022, inquiring about the viability and value of any movies funded by Clough, inquiring about the industry which Clough operates in the competitive position of Clough, and requesting any business plan, business model, or description or other description of the business intentions of Clough and its management and their expectations for the business, and analyzing management of some management's assumptions upon which any business forecast is biased. A broker / dealership tests models of information from representative assets to validate projected returns, even break-even points, and similar information provided to investors. Same thing here. A reasonable investigation of Clough's assets and facilities should include carefully examining any reports by third-party experts that may raise red flags, obtaining an expert opinion from auditors and financial experts and others as necessary to form a basis for determining the sustainability of the investment prior to recommending the security to advisors, inquiring about previous or potential regulatory or disciplinary problems of the issuer, obtaining a credit check of Clough. So basically, you know how like there's a credit report, there would need to be a credit check to see if he is good people of being responsible with its finances, right? Just like how, you know, the U.S. has an F rating for their credit history. Yeah. Making reasonable inquiries concerning the issuer's management. Memorandum should have inquired about such issues as the expertise of management for the issuer's business and the extent to which management has changed or expected to change, inquiring about the forms and management and amount of management compensation, who determines the compensation, and to the extent which the forms of compensation could present serious conflicts of interest. A party acting as a broker dealer might make similar inquiries concerning the qualifications and integrity of any board directors or similar body of the issue, and inquiring about the length of business that the issuer has been in business, whether the focus of its business is expected to change. A reasonable bias suitability requires that a broker dealer, one, perform reasonable diligence to understand the potential risks and rewards associated with a recommended security or strategy, and two, determine whether the recommendation is suitable for at least some investors based on understanding a broker dealer can violate reasonable basis suitability under either prolonged of the test. So I'm going to skip. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, here it is. This is important. I was about to say, it was basically saying just make sure you know what you're doing here. Okay, here we go. Clough's defaults. The cascades of defaults and lawsuits started in 2019, years prior to plaintiff's investment, and culminated into bankruptcy filings last year. In or about September 2022, the Ontario Securities Commission interviewed several individuals involved in the scheme. On or about July 19, 2023, Braun filed for bankruptcy protection in Vancouver, and Creative Wealth Entity offered to provide debtor in possession financing. The attempt to manipulate the bankruptcy system failed. On or about October 27, 2023, CWMF filed for bankruptcy protection in Ontario, Canada. The whole venture is a total loss, with whatever value was apparently transferred to C2. Upon information and belief, Clough via C2 put more than $100 million into 4 Paramount movies in between August of 2022 and August 2023, including Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, Transformers: Rise of the Beast, Dungeons and Dragons: Arm of Thieves, and Babylon. Plaintiff's investments placed by Schmidt. In January 2023, plaintiffs invested $1 million in CWMF via Series B note. attached to Exhibit A and incorporate here. And plaintiff invested $1 million long before it should have been clear to Schmidt that they were dealing with a crook after multiple defaults and significant litigation in just 6 months before the Braun bankruptcy. The investment was a part of a $20 million loan to CWMF for the production of motion pictures. Jordan facilitated the transaction for Schmidt Fowler. The Series B note promised 12% interest paid monthly. Schmidt's compensation was never disclosed. Plaintiff's investment was a total loss. Plaintiff demand rescissions of her investment pursuant to Illinois securities law. So right here, plaintiff states claims on behalf of a class similarly situated investors in CWMF for negligent misrepresentation against Smith and fraudulent misrepresentation against Clough, which led to the class to lose money entrusted with defendants totaling over $80 million. Okay, plaintiff brings this case as class action on behalf of the classes of persons identified as follows. So Clough class, all persons who invested in the Clough offering from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2023. Schmidt subclass, all persons who invested into in the Clough offering with Schmidt from January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2023. I was about to say 2033. My God, we're not there yet. Excluded from the proposed class and subclasses are defendants, their respective officers, directors, and employers, affiliates, legal representatives, heirs, successors, or assignees. Plaintiff reserves the right to amend the class definition as necessary. The members of the punitive classes are so numerous that joinder of all members are impracticable, I think. Questions of fact and law as to all punitive class members predominate over any questions affecting any individual member of the punitive class, including but not limited to whether defendant Schmidt was owed a extra contractual duty of ordinary care to class members, whether defendant Schmidt breached its duty of ordinary care to class members, whether defendant Schmidt negligently misrepresented the facts of their investing in the Clough offering to class members, whether defendant Schmidt was unjustly enriched, whether defendant Clough violated the Illinois security law, whether defendant Clough fraudulently induced class members to invest, and whether defendant Clough was unjustly enriched. So here are the claims, right? So count one, fraudulent misrepresentation, Clough class versus Jason Clough. So right here, Clough omitted that he was listed for funds for project CWMF funded. Clough omitted that funds were invested were being used to pay off all investors in failed projects. Clough represented that invested funds were being applied to specific projects. Clough represented that project funds were applied to profitable or soon would realize a profit. Clough represented projects that represented that project sold would be the only reason for delay was a setup with a credit facility with Commerce Bank. Clough omitted that commissions and fees were being paid to undisclosed individuals and entities. Clough represented that specific projects were profitable when in fact they lost money. Clough was a producer on projects he did not in fact produce. Clough omitted that the profits realized on successful projects were being used to pay investors on failed projects rather than return to investors in successful projects. Clough omitted investment in specific projects that were being commingled with other projects, and Clough omitted CMWF was just a flow-through entity with no assets. Count two, violation of 815 ILCS 512 IJ class versus Jason Clough. So at all times relevant, there existed in say Illinois statute entitled Illinois Securities Law of 1953. Just trying to see right here. Pursuant to Section 12 of the ISL, it is unlawful for any person to employ any device, scheme, or artifice to defraud in connection with the sale or purchase of any security directly or indirectly. Clough issued numerous statements and other papers or documents touting the value of the investments and how the investment funds will be utilized. Clause representation to the class to invest CWMF was performed in the course and scope of his employment as agent, control person, owner of CWMF. The solicitation contained materially false and untrue statements, including misrepresentations of the value of projects. I'm back in the notes and units and how the funds be utilized. Clause solicitation to invest in the clause offering omit to state the following material facts that were required to make the statement contained in the solicitation not misleading. That clause was listed more funds than actually required for projects CWMF funded. B, that funds were being used to pay off all investors and failed projects. C, that commissions and fees were being paid to undisclosed individuals and entities. D, that specific projects were profitable when in fact they lost money. E, that Clough was a producer of projects that he did not in fact produce. F, that the profits realized on successful projects were being used to pay investors on failed projects rather than return to investors in successful projects. G, that investment in specific projects were being commingled with other projects. That C, MWF was just a flow-through entity with no assets, and Clough laboring under numerous conflicting interests. That fees were paid to undisclosed entities controlled by Clough. And then K, other material facts detailed here in count 3, Schmidt class versus Schmidt. Right here is unlawful for any person to obtain money or property through the sale of securities by means of any untrue statement of a material fact or admission to state a material fact necessary in order to make the statements made in light of circumstances under which they remain not misleading. Sandy, Ethan, and Jordan were each control persons of SAS at all relevant times and directly participate in soliciting investors via text, email, and Zoom meetings. Schmidt issued numerous statements and other papers or documents touting the value of the investments and how the invested funds will be utilized. The solicitation contained materially false and untrue statements, including misrepresentations of the value of the projects back in the notes and units and how the funds will be utilized. Solicitation to invest in the Clough offering omitted to state the following material facts that were required to make the same contain in the solicitation, not misleading. That Clough was soliciting more funds. Basically, these are the same things here, right? That I read the first time. Right here, that Clough was laboring under numerous conflicting interests. Now, that is a new one. That fees were paid to undisclosed entities controlled by Roth and other material facts detailed herein. Count 4, negligent misrepresentation, Schmidt subclass for Schmidt defendants. Those who undertake any work or call for which special skills required as a broker-dealer have a duty not only to exercise reasonable care in what they do, but also possess a standard minimal special knowledge and ability. At all times relevant to this action, Schmidt had knowledge of a reasonable grounds to believe the existence of facts by reason of which their liability under this count is alleged to exist. With this knowledge, Schmidt made material omissions of the fact with respect to the offer and sale of the Clough offering in each of its forms. Count 5, unjust enrichment, Clough class versus Clough. Clough received or retained a benefit from plaintiffs and the class, and inequity resulted. Clough benefit from the sale of the investment in the Clough offering based on his fraudulent representations and his sales agent's negligent representations. Thus, all class members conferred benefit on Clough. It is inequitable for Clough to retain these benefits. The plaintiffs and the class were not aware of the true facts of the investment and did not benefit from the defendant's conduct. Clough knowingly accepted the benefits of his unjust conduct. As a result of Schmidt's conduct, the amount of his unjust enrichment should be disgorged in an amount according to proof. Count 6, I believe. Unjust enrichment, Schmidt subclass for the Schmidt defendants. Schmidt received and retained a benefit from plaintiffs and the class, and inequity has resulted. Schmidt benefited from the sale of investment in the Clough offered based on cross-fraudulent representations and their own negligent representations. Schmidt not only accepted the benefits of their unjust conduct. As a result of Schmidt's conduct, the amount of his unjust enrichment should be disgorged in an amount according to proof. I think this is count 7 right here. C2 has information essential to determination who should be probably named as additional defendants in this action. Okay. The plaintiff in any civil action may designate respondents in discovery in his or her pleading. Those individuals or entities other than the named defendants believed by plaintiff to have information essential to the determination of who should probably be named as additional defendants in the action. Persons or entities so named as respondents in discovery shall be required to respond to discovery by the plaintiff in the same manner as are defendants, and may, on the motion of the plaintiff, be added as defendants if the evidence discloses the existence of probable cause for such action. A person or entity named a respondent in discovery may, upon his or her own motion, be made a defendant of the action in which the case of provision of the section are no longer applicable to that person. And then, of course, right here, right? Let me just read all this here. Wherefore, plaintiff, on behalf of the class, prays for the judgment as defendants as follows: finding that this action satisfies the prerequisites for maintenance as a class action as set forth 735 ILCS 5/2 -801, and certifying the proposed class as defined herein, designate plaintiff as representative of the proposed class and Alexander N. Loftus, Esquire, as the counsel, attorney's fees, all actual and compensatory damages rather caused by defendant's breach, including loss of interest and reasonable cost in excess of $80 million, unit damages against Jason Clough in excess of $100 million, and any and all further relief that this court deems just and appropriate. Respectfully submit Alexander Loftus, one of the plaintiff's attorneys, Roscoe Esquire, Loftus and Iceberg Ltd, 161 North Corner Suite, 1600, Chicago, Illinois, 60601. Phone number 312-899-6625. That's 312-899-6625. That's 312-899-6625. Alex at loftusandeisenberg.com. Ross at loftusandeisenberg.com. Dated March 5th, 2024. And then here are all the exhibits, right? This is just showcasing. That was basically all the intel, right? That was all the intel. Now we're getting into the exhibits here. So this is basically just forms and documents saying how much the loan was and all that there. So I'm just going through. I listen, I knew when I saw 90 pages, I'm like, this motherfucking thing ain't 90 pages. We're going to read all that. I'm just showing you what we have here. And I'm going to give my final thoughts here in a minute because this was a lot. Okay. And here Callus Wealth Management. This was a PowerPoint presentation there. Okay. I can't turn it. I don't think. Oh, look at that. Wow, look at that. All right, good. See, tools are useful. Okay. So I was turning my head like this. It hurt. Anyway, here is all this. Y'all, this is public information. I have not done anything wrong to anybody. Okay. All right. Let's get this straight. This is David Clough. All right. That is in this show. Creative Wealth Media is charged with this. Ron Studios is a part of this, but they have nothing to actually do with this. This is more of David Clough utilizing Braun Studios and placing the blame on Braun and leaving them in the fucking dust. Because I bet you this, he wouldn't pull this off at Disney. He wouldn't pull this off at Warner Brothers. He wouldn't pull this off at Paramount Skydance. I mean, even David Ellison and Larry Ellison, who undersigned it, who are connected to the president, they're racist, but they don't want to lose money either. Driving Force and Studio, independent production produced and or financed motion pictures alongside Warner Brothers, Sony, MGM, Paramount, A24, Universal Lionsgate. Ron Digital is a state-of-the-art virtual production service company. Creative Wealth Media specializes in financing solutions for studio and distributors of film entertainment. 50 years of combined media, entertainment, and investment experience. More than $750 million in financing for approximately 60 motion pictures since 2010. And then right here, this is Braun Studio, past, present, and future. I don't think I'll be able to really get into that. See, yep, the item was deleted. That's why I thought. Okay. Just clicking each link just to see. Yep, that was deleted. I guess this was deleted too. Okay, so this was the opening for Haley and the Hero Hearts. Here we go. Oh, this looked like it was going to be a good show for girls. That's what's up. I think the saddest thing about this, or one of the saddest things, is the fact that, hang on, let me remove that. Sorry, y'all, let me stop sharing screen. Let's do that again. All right, let's try this again.
Haley and the Hero Hearts. Haley.
And then right here was Fables, but unfortunately that is no longer with us. Like I said, I think one of the saddest things is the future work that could have been done by Braun Studios and all the projects that never got to see the light of day, and the staff and the crews that worked tirelessly to bring this thing forth. That's the fucking thing that pisses me off about this the most. See Joker right there has made movies into Ultimate Gear Play. Netflix animated movie clocks 37.6 million views in the first month. And then right here, look at this. Braun Studios is a rising Canadian powerhouse in content production. Who's to say that David didn't like the success of Braun Studios, and so because he didn't like Braun Studios, he said, well, if I utilize Braun Studios for all that's worth and then blame them for it and then try to get away with it, and maybe, just maybe, I could buy Braun Studios and make my own studio. That could happen. We just talked about that with the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, and Penske Media, with Penske Media trying to reduce the value of that organization and the Golden Globes to buy it. So as you can see here, they were keeping up with everything. Okay, BT Stars, shout out to them. Black Focus Networks there. Spike is no longer around. That is now the Paramount Network. Showtime is no longer around. They folded that into Paramount Plus in a dumbass of a fashion move from Paramount. So you have the process here: plenary chair, due diligence review, film committee, executive review, fund review, closing process. Then here is, now this is like business behind the scenes, right? So just showing that there. I'm just showing all the exhibits, y'all. That was what, 41 pages, essentially. That we read here. Showcasing. So this is a project right here. Fables. So that was that project, Fables. Fables is a collection of the timeless stories we've told for centuries, repurposed in a fresh and exciting way. These are the stories for which we find ourselves have learned, for which we ourselves have learned life's important lessons. Slow and say wins the race. Kindness is never wasted. Liars are not believed, even when they speak the truth. Well, that depends on if you're being an asshole like Ticket TV. Then at that point, we just call you a waste of life that should have been swallowed by your mother, and we stump you out socially. Somebody said that Ticket TV's channel was another Uncle Tatum channel. They were unsubscribing. See, it's one thing if one person's saying on you, but when other people are fighting back with you, it's usually on you, motherfucker. Same thing happened to Malago Grams and Toss Away K, and always a loser, and whisper. But hey, the idiots are getting through the door, and the good people who try to do good can't even get to the door. It's a damn shame. Fucking damn shame at that. The stories, all the fables chosen for our series are from the public domain, but we attempted to add life into traditional tales, expand on the original stories for further humor and character. We use the most noble fables toward the tortoise and the hare, the lion, the mouse, and the boy who cried wolf. And targeted talent. I see a lot of people here. Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Gardner, Julianne Moore, Charlize Theron, Jennifer Hudson, Michelle Obama, Gabrielle Union, Jennifer Lopez, Salma Hayek, Halle Berry, Jessica Biel, Viola Davis, Gossamer here, Braun Digital Production. This looks something really cool. 8-episode, 30-minute digital anime series. So that's what they mean by a half. So one half is 30 minutes. If it was 60 minutes, it would have been 860. That's that media brain going there. Let's see here. Written by two-time Newbery winner Lois Lowry, the Giver Quartet, number of stars. Gossamer takes children and adults alike on a journey of the mind's imagination. Gossamer and Lowry touches on themes such as loneliness, forgiveness, trust, and hope. This would have been amazing. One of her more daring novels. This is the first time the critically acclaimed book will be adapted to the screen. The novel has elements of both family and realism, which will allow for a visual and inventive world to play across screen. Braun recently premiered his anime feature Willoughby on Netflix based on the book by Lois Lowry. Shout out to Gossamer and Lois Lowry. Shout out to Fables as well. And here is casting underway. Hunter Safer, Euphoria, for Aquafina, Ocean 8, Crazy Rich Asians, The Farewell as Will, Rich as Bertiano, James Gordon, Trolls, Peter Rabbit, Into the Woods, and then as Mo, RuPaul, The Simpsons, Show Dogs, and BoJack Horseman. Bubbles Hotel, here is this here, from Epic Story Media. By the way, this confidential information of Epic Story Media, no representation or warranty is made by Epic Inc. or managers with respect to information contained herein, right? So just want to say it's not confidential anymore because this is a publicly available document. So just want to say that. Okay, all right. So right here, created by Nara High, Rainbow Ruby, Bubbles Hotel is a magical resort where every guest can explore the unique passion with the help of a bubbly hotel extraordinaire who's always there to save the day. Bubble and her staff welcome new guests to their room and help them live out their fantastical adventure. Target girls 4 to 8 years old. In production, 52 episodes, 11 minutes, 9 minutes, and 2 minutes. What is Bubbles Hotel all about? Bubbles' mission is to help her guests discover and become the ultimate version of who they really want to be. Bubble always discovers a little part of herself in the process. Bubbles Hotel makes energetic innocence the new fun attitude for girls of all ages, a new attitude for girls. Think Hello Kitty meets K Park without the snark. But then Haley and the Hero Hearts, which we got to see that beautiful intro there for that. Right here, Kevin Moore. Mower meta story. Kevin is an experienced and proven creator with a rich breadth of experience and a deep passion for creating stories for kids and all family that are mission driven. He's a Gemini and a two-time Emmy Award-winning show creator and also the holder of multiple plate patents. He founded Hasbro's entertainment division, putting Hasbro on the path to content success while running Hasbro's worldwide research and development group. Kevin's also the founder of Moral Meta Story, is broadly known as the franchise story doctor for the kids and all the family entertainment business clients. That includes DreamWorks Animation, Universal DC Comics, Warner Games, Mattel, Lego, Briar, and many more rather. Kevin's also the co-founder and CEO of Huge Play Premium direct-to-consumer toys. Beyond a good nurturing community and home life, I believe stories are the greatest, most lasting impact we can have on the future of our children and the children in the future. Our children will shape for us all. As creators, we need to be inspired by the rapidly evolving ideas, community, and possibilities of our world that bring inspiration to our children, inventive ways that reach into the moments they are living in and give them the tools to explore themselves and become better human beings shaping a better world. What Haley's all about, learning how to deal with your big emotions. I think Ticket TV could use this show, but yet he doesn't give a fuck about a black kid being dead, and he doesn't want us to judge white people, those boys in Bart, for not deleting people, but yet he got big mad Officer Tatum from holding back evidence from other people, and he got big mad at me because I called him out on his shit tonight. But if he can't take information from an adult, I'm sure he can't take any information from a children's show. Maybe his brain is from 4 to 8 years old. We don't know. I mean, some brains did not develop after the age of 26. And then here is Jason Clough here. This is his resume here. He has worked on Apple's TV, Tom Hanks' World War II film, Greyhound. He's worked on the morning show, the upcoming film release Candyman. He was a director of Braun Media Group. He joined Braun Studios in September 2014 as a key strategic and financial and investor management role. He has produced more than 77 feature films with producer Braun Studios along the way, raising excess of $750 million for the film industry. Then, of course, he worked on Fences. Okay. Paramount, Joaquin Phoenix led Joker, Warner Brothers, Charlize Theron led Bombshell, Lionsgate, Adams Family, MGM Studios, Good Liar, Warner Brothers, Queen and Slim, Universal. Here's Sandy Schmidt here, and all his credentials here. He earned his BS. That's Bachelor of Science, not bullshit, in accounting from the University of Illinois at Chicago. He also earned financial credentials of CFP, Certified Financial Planner, International Board Certified Financial Planners, CHFC, Char Financial Consultant, CLU, Char Life Underwriter, and has FINRA Series 6, 63, 65, and 22 securities registration. And then here is Ethan Schmidt, the son of Sandy Schmidt. My bad, y'all. Right here. So he's a certified planner, CPF, Char, retirement plan counselor, CRPC, licensed insurance advisor, holds Security 7 and Series 66 securities registrations with FINRA. And of course, Sanford Schmidt and Ethan Schmidt, that is their emails and phone numbers. I'm not doxing. We got through all of that, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 hours, 29 minutes, and 52 seconds. I didn't know if I could do all that. I thought I was going to have to read 90 pages, but yeah, you could have fact that it's 41 pages. You know, I gotta tell you something. What a time to be alive, right? To be ahead of the culture, as we often do around here. I truly believe that that's an open and shut case. To take money that was for not just films, not just TV, but also to help children out, you a fucking piece of shit. You also are a fucking piece of shit for screwing for Braun Studios. And I'm sorry to the staff, the crew, the C-suites. Y'all did not deserve that. Now, I don't know if this was the thing that made Braun Studios fall, but if it was, I believe that Jason Clough deserves rather to pay back Braun Studios every fucking thing they deserve. And I believe Braun Studios' name should be back. One moment does not define you, although it can in some circumstances. Once again, Ticket TV being a dumbass, piece of shit bastard, Officer Tatum, always a loser, DL Whisper, Malago Grams, Toss Away K, all right, and many others. Sometimes you really want to be in the industry, but then when you see a lawsuit like this, it really makes you think like, nah, I'm good. But also, too, this is why you have your own platform. So when you finally get in the industry, you can never be fired because you did the work to always be employed for yourself. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be back right after this. We are live on tour. Like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll be back right after this. Roll it, everybody.
Lights go low, the city goes high. Stories untold under moonlit skies. Pray lonely, got the vibe, got the flow for the culture. Yeah, you already know. Turn it up, lean back, feel the breeze. Late night truths drifting through the trees. It's for the culture, by the culture. Bravenly's got the soul to show ya. Breaking it down, lifting it higher. Feel the rhythm, spark the fire. Headlines flip with a soulful twist. Behind the scenes where the magic sits. It's the heartbeat of the now and the then, where the story starts and never ends. Tune in, lean and feel the groove. Every moment, a vibe you can't lose. It's for the culture, by the culture. Bravenly's got the soul to show ya. Breaking it down, lifting it higher. Feel the rhythm, spark the fire. Hear the whispers in the city's hum. Echoes of stories where we're from. A beat, a step, a voice so clear. The pulse of us, it's all right here. We got soul, we got flavor. Every moment is a savior. Every experience is an overcomer. Turn it up, feel the glow, let the rhythm flow. Spotlight shining, we in the zone. This is the place where the culture's grown. Stories untold, now they're coming alive. Bravenly got the vibe tonight. One thing to know and two things for sure. Higher is waiting and lower is available. But either way, we gotta go on tour. It's Bravenly's virtual tour, where the culture makes its move. Feel the love, feel the truth. This is us, this is you. From the unknown, the unembraced and more. This show, this brand and the possibilities of what can be is all here for you. I'm just a kid from the rock, trying to be a rock for people, trying to make it best they can to become. Being moved as a creator of power, to lift up all of us, not just a selective few. For the culture, by the culture, here we be, Bravenly, bringing life to your screen. Feel the soul, feel the truth, we're free, trust and believe. It's entertainment, news done our way with. Bravenly, spotlight sharp like a diamond shine. We see the stars, but the stories align. Deep in the soul where the heartbeats find. The pulse of the people redefining time. Just a pro tip, people have to earn the right to hear your story, but in addition are not seen by everybody doesn't mean we are not been seen by who needs to see us. Noise equals attention and sound equals purpose. Anybody can be a creator, but it takes a somebody to be an artist.
Introducing the greatest escape in the Caribbean, the island you've been waiting for. Welcome to the Great Life on Great Stirrup Cay. This is the greatest pool you've ever seen life, 28,000 square feet of it, and the epic water park life. It's where you can truly experience the whoa life and the floating through paradise life. It's time to escape to a mind-blowing, sky-high tower of water slides and the Here We Go life. Escape to the one more please wherever you please life and kick it into high gear. Escape to where you can kick back and relax. The great life is waiting. Escape to the incredible new Great Stirrup Cay, only with Norwegian Cruise Line.
I got a question for you. What does this city know about luxury? Huh? What does a town that's been to hell and back know about the finer things in life? Well, I'll tell you, more than most. You see, it's the hottest fires that make the hardest steel. Add hard work and conviction, and the know-how that runs generations deep in every last one of us. That's who we are. That's our story. Now, it's probably not the one you've been reading in papers. The one being written by folks who've never even been here and don't know what we're capable of. Because when it comes to luxury, it's as much about where it's from as who it's for. Now, we're from America, but this isn't New York City, or the Windy City, or Sin City, and we're certainly no one's Emerald City.
This is the Motor City, and this is what we do.
Sweet morning dew, one look at you. And it was plain to see you were my destiny. God, you were found. I come from nothing. Our son is your son.
Welcome to the celebration.
We all we got. I'll do that.
Don't you leave here to go for happiness. I want you to leave here to show that.
Power 923 Jams and the Arkansas Minority Health Commission encourages you to take the COVID-19 vaccine to help keep you and your loved ones safe. Involved in our community, the People Station, Power 923 Jams. KIPR Pine Bluff, Little Rock, KFOG, Little Rock, a Cumulus Media Station. And now, back to the Jams. Hip-hop. Drake.
Girls want girls where I'm from. Yeah, well, girls want girls where I'm from.
R&B.
J. Howell.
Just 'cause I
now. Bumping back-to-back continuous music with another fresh new jam. Heard here first on the People Station, Power 923 Jams.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I love you so much. I tell you thrice. Welcome back into Brainley's virtual tour live. You know, like I said before, I didn't know what this platform was going to be about. Didn't know who I was going to be on it. Didn't know who I would connect with. But what a joy, a thrill, and a privilege it is to be able to bring you stories that, quite frankly, you won't see on mainstream media. Do you think you're going to see this story that I talked about on mainstream media? You probably won't. There's a couple of places, you know, KTLA, Associated Press, but like I'm talking about like Good Morning America today, and forget CBS Morning Star. I got more juice than them. Okay, listen. No, you won't. You won't see this type of detailed coverage of this. And if a guy from Canada can hurt a movie studio that could have done great work, imagine what other corruption is happening in Hollywood. Imagine what other corruptions is happening in other industries. If somebody's trying to be a financier, they're making $1 out 15 cents, but not giving you any of the money, right? They're trying to keep it all for themselves. What you do has consequences. That's the first thing I want to tell you, right? The second thing I will say to you is when you are responsible, understand the weight of it. And the third thing is not everybody is going to be successful in life, right? But you don't have the right to be disrespectful to the spaces that you honestly had a 99.9% chance of never stepping into. The least you can do is be respectful to people. So, that being said, y'all, it's time for the best outro on YouTube. Know what you do and do what you know. Never say you want point special because you are always one of us, and trust you may not be where you want to be, but anyway, you'll be where you need to be. Doing what you've been chosen to do, rather. Why is one thing to call yourself is another to be chosen. One love, much love, all love. I have spent time with you. You have spent time with me. And hopefully, I spend time together. Rise, we're great together. And always remember what you're doing: radio, television, YouTube, living your best life, or just showcasing factual information. Just trying to let people know, hey, listen, be careful of making sure that your voice doesn't get diluted for somebody else to make profit off of it. Make sure the replay is not just right for you watching, not just right for let's do it, but if you want to experience it again. I love you. I value you. I embrace you all. Always remember, see love, you gotta give more. See love, you gotta give more. See love, you gotta give it. Wherever obstacles you overcome, where success you have achieved. About this particular day, I'm extremely proud of you, but no one else is proud of you. Be proud of your damn self. And finally, y'all, recognize this. The first shall be last. The last shall be first. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. There's been a lot of people being last, doing the right thing for a long time. They're about to be first in life. There's a lot of people who've been first and been doing a lot wrong, like Ticket TV, Officer Tatum, and David Clough, and Milagro Grams, and Toss Away K, and Always a Loser, and Lil Whisper. But they're going to be last. Just make sure that when those people are last, and if anybody of their caliber tries to say anything of importance, we verify, we do our research, and we make sure that they are being accountable, because whatever we do not hold to the fire, we can get burned from it. Amen. Amen. Commercial break and fireworks coming your way for the day that was, for the day that's come, for the blessings on the way for you, me, all of us, as a society, as a people, as a culture. I feel the love. I'll feel right back to you. Good night, everybody. Love y'all. Peace.
I thought I should tell you they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner. I thought I should tell you they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner. I thought I should tell you they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner.
Good evening. My name is Mark Woodbury. I'm the chairman and CEO of Universal Destinations and Experiences. Well, we're finally here. Tomorrow we begin a new chapter at Universal Orlando Resort as we open Epic Universe. We built this place for you. I want to thank you, our fans, for your love of our stories, characters, and immersive experiences that inspired this incredible place. Epic Universe represents over 8 years of meticulous planning, immense creativity, and innovation, combined with unmatched craftsmanship and operational excellence on the part of thousands of people who have brought to life the stories and characters that live beyond each of Epic's portals. But it represents so much more. Your love of Universal and the deep connections we've shared together here in Orlando over the past 30 years inspired us to dream bigger and to push the boundaries to create something extraordinary for you and for generations of fans and families to come. And tomorrow, as we open Epic Universe, I can't wait for you to experience this place for yourself. Now it's your turn to step inside, to lose yourself, and to share this place with the ones you love most. As we open this park, we hope your world becomes a little more epic. Tomorrow, Epic Universe becomes yours.
Are video games getting too expensive? This episode, we want to find some common ground because the CEOs want to raise the price even more.
Not with these broken-ass games.
$5 million. That's how much San Andreas costs to make. Is it their fault for selling or our fault for buying?
Corporations claim all this stuff. Devs say otherwise.
Sports gamers, cozy gamers, whatever you call the people who play Power Wash Simulator.
I think it stings a little bit more because I'm spending my actual money and my mom is not. Imagine they get rid of all movie theaters and then charge you the same price to watch the same movie at home.
That's like every streaming service. It doesn't have to be the longest of games, but am I having fun with it? This is Lex. I'm Ronell. Let's get right into it.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.
Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because here's the thing, a good streamer can find other content. Because
I've been moving on my own accord, covering Black culture. There is more to life. I heard that, friend. Braylon, shout out to Braylon. Make sure y'all go follow Braylon in case y'all haven't. I love your content. I've been moving on my own accord, covering Black culture. There is more to life. I heard that, friend. Braylon, shout out to Braylon. Make sure y'all go follow Braylon in case y'all haven't. I love your content. I've been moving on my own accord, covering Black culture. There is more to life. I heard that, friend. Braylon, shout out to Braylon. Make sure y'all go follow Braylon in case y'all haven't. I love your content.
Child, Braylon been over there doing his thing, minding his GD business, staying out of trouble, trying to get the folks some positive stuff to talk about, besides lying all the damn time. Child, Braylon been over there doing his thing, minding his GD business, staying out of trouble, trying to get the folks some positive stuff to talk about, besides lying all the damn time. Child, Braylon been over there doing his thing, minding his GD business, staying out of trouble, trying to get the folks some positive stuff to talk about, besides lying all the damn time. Child, Braylon been over there doing his thing, minding his GD business, staying out of trouble, trying to get the folks some positive stuff to talk about, besides lying all the damn time.
Power 923 Jams and the Arkansas Minority Health Commission encourages you to take the COVID-19 vaccine to help keep you and your loved ones safe. Involved in our community, the People Station, Power 923 Jams. KIPR Pine Bluff, Little Rock, KFOG, Little Rock, a Cumulus Media Station. And now, back to the jams. Hip-hop. Drake.
Girls want girls where I'm from. Yeah, well, girls want girls where
R&B.
J. Howell. Just cause I love you and you love me.
And now, bumping back-to-back continuous music with another fresh new jam. Heard here first on the People Station, Power 923 Jams.